Welcome to Pax Europiana here from Podgorica on my European Montenegro tour. And I call again for Montenegro to be in the EU, obviously, together with Albania and with North Macedonia. But now I want to talk about this tweet which Emmanuel Macron has sent out. The idea of a world war. He doesn't want a world war. Yes, who wants that? You know, this is the useless tweets of Macron, the useless policy. He is basically useless. Yeah? Since the beginning of the war, he did very little. In the beginning, before the war, he did everything to make it possible by his rejection of Ukraine in NATO. Together with Scholz, they went to neutralize Ukraine, to Finlandize Ukraine, to do a lot of harm and basically green light the invasion. So he is very much the reason why Putin felt encouraged to attack. And now he says he doesn't want a world war. That's very good, you know. Who exactly wants a world war beside Putin? Who exactly wanted that war beside Putin? And now he says that he doesn't want a world war. Very nice, Mr. Macron. What a miserable performance. He is now at least, you know, waking gradually up that we need a common answer fiscally to the crisis, to the war. That means we need a common debt package, not just Germany spending 200 billion, but everybody taking loans together in this debt for victory deal which I'm proposing since a lot of time, Mr. Macron. Do not repeat the mistake of the past. Remember when you aligned with Serbia and with Russia against the rest of the world and you failed Montenegro. Let's never forget that. And France, and also in the past the French peculiarities and strange foreign policy has been a major reason for many crises in Europe in the past. So I do call for France to come back to the West as a normal, decent European ally. Now with the war accelerating and escalating is the right word, sorry. It is of course good that France is now delivering more weapons, and so gradually they are joining the West again. Very welcome, was about time. And now he makes this tweet and he is saying that he doesn't want a war. Yes, good news. Who really wants it? So what we need instead of such tweets is to get Ukraine into NATO. Because I repeat, the logic is very clear and I think irrefutable to anybody with open eyes to see. It is very clear that what we need is that Ukraine joins NATO. I said that all the time. We could have avoided this war by making sure that we defend Ukraine. Russia has no way to attack NATO. Russia cannot even win against Ukraine just supplied by NATO. How can it win against NATO? It's totally impossible to have any form of attack. You know, it's not unthinkable, but of course they can never win against NATO. So how to even consider the whole thing? And so I call again to be very clear. We must integrate Ukraine in NATO. And what the Russians have said, that will lead to World War III, what they want to do, yeah? Attack us nuclearly. I mean that they cannot even win a conventional war against NATO, because contrary to the Soviet Union, which was a strong military power, Russia is not visible. It's crumbling already. They are now losing Kherson, and the governor is calling the civil population, the Russian, there will be not a lot following because the people want to be liberated by Ukraine, and they will be. So there is no way. And if Russia wants nuclear to escalate, I've made many videos already about that's a completely ridiculous kind of concept. Yeah? There is no danger of nuclear war because Russia will be annihilated. There will be no Russia, not even physically, in case of major nuclear confrontation, and we will not attack Russia. So why should they escalate militarily in that way? I have to go to the other bridge here. It's very beautiful in Podgorica. I'm sorry to talk about nuclear war here, but there is this threat and we have to deal with it, of course. You know, the Russians are telling us who to get into NATO or not. So it's not the countries deciding about their own allegiance, but Russia deciding who can join. I mean, that's ultimately totally crazy. How can Russia decide about the fate of other countries by the threat of war? And we accept it. I cannot really understand that, and further not accept that. Yeah? So if the Russian Deputy Security Council person is somehow claiming to be the person in the world to decide who can attack and who not, then it's not the world I want to live in. Yeah? Anyhow, I cannot. So there's a lot of speculation on that one, but you know, the only way, I want to make it very clear, the only way to stop that war is to get Ukraine into NATO. Because the moment it's in NATO, the situation is clear, and the Russians know that they have no chance, and they will obviously understand that very clearly. So the whole idea that, what he said, the integrating of Ukraine in NATO will lead to World War III, on the contrary, it's the only way to make peace and to have lasting peace as well in Europe. And I say that since 5 years. And so, you know, of course we can think about the BRD, the Federal Republic of Germany president. I've made that case already. You know, that's of course an option. We can also see different concepts. There's various variations of the same concept. Like, for example, but at the moment, the longer I think about it and what is now happening and the brutality of Russia, I don't even think that we should go for a division, because what I'm basically saying since 2017 is also a form of acceptance of Russian partly occupation. Now with all the things and all the crimes they have committed, we should probably go for full liberation and for full integration of Ukraine in NATO, and the French president would be better to tweet for Ukraine in NATO as part of the peace process and not anything else. It's probably going to rain in this beautiful country, and I have left my umbrella. So I will be a bit wet, but I hope it will be absolutely fine, and I hope there will be peace. Look how beautiful this place is. It's very beautiful area here, peaceful and nice. But Gorica is very nice. It will definitely not be harmed by any nuclear attack, and the world will be in peace. And I cannot understand why Macron is repeating the same mistake of Biden to somehow escalate rhetorically towards World War III levels, while the only one who is doing war is the Russians. And it's absolutely legitimate to defend yourself in the case of Ukraine, and it's absolutely legitimate to help the victim of aggression. That's Ukraine. And so if Russia wants to whatever use a small nuke, and then we shall just, you know, respond in kind and nuke some of their border facilities. And if they want to use and want to attack NATO, yes, let's defend ourselves, yeah, and let's ultimately destroy Russia. You know, if that's what the Russians choose, I'm sure that most of our defense systems will be able to take down most of the missiles. I'm quite confident no Russian technology of the 1980s, that's the level of development, will reach the North American soil. Sadly enough, they will be able to reach the European soil. That's of course very regrettable. So I'm not in favor of nuclear war, just to make it very, very clear. But I'm absolutely against us being blackmailed by Russia, and I call Mr. Macron to support, of course, Montenegro in the European Union, and of course Ukraine in NATO. And I want to thank the powerful support of North Macedonia and Montenegro for Ukraine in NATO. That's the right policy, and I want to thank you for that. I'm now making some photos again of the beautiful national hero monument here, and I want to thank you very much for your support, and please thanks the 1000 subscriber on my YouTube channel, and more to come from Pax Europiana. Please support Montenegro in the European Union. Bye.